Hello, Felicia.
Hey, good evening, Miss Lady. How
Good
are
evening.
you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am doing pretty good. Forgive my voice tonight. I did my good singing in church, or singing, should they say. So my voice is a little raspy, but I'm doing well. Glad to be
Okay.
joining you once again.
No, we are here one more time. I'm,
Yes,
I'm thanking the Lord for that. And it's a blessing to just get up and have the opportunity to have a guest on here tonight for domestic violence. And we want to welcome you all to the Issues of Life Talk Forum. We're glad to have you join us. So please send some hearts and some love, those purple hearts, y'all, because this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so show us some love with those purple hearts and comment hashtag stop domestic violence and also share this live because we don't know who may come in contact with this video and may be going through a situation with domestic violence. So we really want you to share this live because you just don't know who may be in this situation. And
right.
so hashtag stop domestic violence and comment um, that hashtag and also show some love with those purple hearts, y'all. And share this live with your friends. I've been sitting up here trying to share it myself. I don't know what I'm doing.
Girl, I know the
I
technology. It get a little tricky
know
sometimes.
it does. And I'm just sitting up there like, look, I'm trying to share this live.
Well,
And
you know I got it. You know I'm
you
on it.
got it. And as long as Felicia got it, I'm happy with that. All right. So our guest tonight is Cassandra McLaughlin, and we're gonna bring her on.
Great.
I'm trying to get this comment out the way because we want to make sure we can see her. So we're gonna bring on Cassandra McLaughlin. How you
Hey,
doing, Cassandra?
I'm great. How are you?
Hi,
Good.
beautiful.
Good, good, good. We want to thank you again for coming on to this platform to share your story. It is a blessing.
Well, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you thinking enough of me to have me on tonight. It's my prayer that something that we say will help someone else in that situation.
Yes, yes. And so I want to introduce Miss Cassandra. She is a native of Marshall, Texas, who loves God, her family, and Mexican food. And she said in that order.
Yes, in that order.
Oh,
Yeah,
you already got my heart, girl. You said Mexican food. Oh,
Mexican food.
oh.
And it's in that order. And, and she hosts a gospel radio show in Dallas and is very active in serving her listening community. She has enjoyed reading and writing for as long as anyone can remember. In addition to writing books, she wrote and produced her first play, Don't Love Me to Death. Ah,
Oh,
ah. Yeah, if I
yeah.
had some hand clap praise up in here. To raise awareness about domestic violence, she also wrote, co-produced, and directed Deacon Brown's Daughters, a movie based on the book Deacon Brown's Daughters. She co-wrote with Michelle Simpson. So you can also meet Cassandra online at www.cassandramclaughlin.com.
Yes.
Yes,
Wonderful.
that is awesome. I'm so happy for you, Cassandra, especially about the movie. I can't wait until it comes out so we can watch it.
Yes.
Look, I'm ready for everybody to see that movie. It was a by fate production, and we are super excited about it. And stay tuned for that because it's coming soon.
I am looking forward to it.
Yes.
And you also did a play, Don't Love Me to Death. I know that that was much needed. Did you have a hard time producing that play?
Not really, because domestic violence is a real issue. The play that we did when the director and I were speaking about it, I said, we always show women getting abused. So I flipped it. And
Hmm.
when I did the play Don't Love Me to Death, it actually was a man getting abused.
Oh,
vice
wow.
because there are both sides. A lot of times people tend to forget about the men that are being abused because it does happen to them as well. Not necessarily always physical, but they suffer from verbal abuse too. Because sometimes our words hurt worse than the physical. And so I
Yeah.
show both sides of that. Did that play back in 2016. I did two shows and it was really great. And people have been asking me to bring it back. I just hadn't had time. Don't know if I will, but
Mhm.
it was we got a lot of good feedback from it.
That's good. That's good. And I heard you say that men also get abused too. And I looked up
Mm,
the statistics. It say that 1 in 3, no, 1 in 4 men
Yes.
also get into domestic violence situation where they are being abused.
wow.
And you don't see it a lot on TV because I know most of the TV shows, like on Lifetime, BET, or whatever, or any other type of TV platform, they always showing the women being abused. But I did happen to see on SVU, Law and Order, where a man was being abused by his wife.
Hmm.
Right.
And I found that to be so profound because I was like, that is needed. That is a needed conversation because
Right.
men don't report it.
Right.
Even my own husband was like, if something happened to him in that type of situation, he would not report it. And I said, why not? Violence is violence. Abuse is abuse. It's not something that you're supposed to be enduring, anybody, because we're supposed to be respecting one another. And if something was like that to happen, you shouldn't be shamed to go and report it. But
Right.
women be shamed to report it just as well.
And I
But
Yeah.
always wonder why the
Yeah.
focus was so
One of
much.
the
Go ahead.
why
I'm sorry.
That's okay. One of the reasons why the women don't report it right away is, of course, like you said, out of shame, but also you don't know if people will actually believe you. And a lot of times, that person that has abused you has threatened to kill you if you tell somebody. So you have all of that going on as well. And so a lot of times they live through that abuse until you get sick and tired of being sick and tired because you can best believe that your abuser is going to always apologize. They're going to apologize. And the first thing out of their mouth normally is, so you going to leave me now? So that's to make you
Mm,
feel sorry for them, although they have abused you and have done you wrong. They want you to feel sorry for them and you fall for it because of your self-esteem or because they've already told you ain't nobody else gonna love you like me. There are just so many things that go along with why women don't tell.
yeah, that is true. So,
yeah.
Cassandra, we're gonna go ahead on and let you share your a little bit about your story.
Well, for me, I grew up around domestic violence. It was accepted. What I mean by that, I've watched, my mother was abused and she did not leave her situation right away. It goes back to what I just said. You get abused, you go back, you stay. So if that's the pattern of what you've witnessed, you then begin to think that, oh, well, it's okay. My mama went through it. My cousin or my aunt or my whoever went through that. And so you begin to, once it happens to you the first time, you think, oh, well, it's gonna get better. My ex-husband was very abusive, not just physical, but verbally abusive. I began to believe some of the things that he would say about me. Nobody else is gonna want me. I'm ugly. I'm fat. Just all of this stuff. And once you begin to believe this stuff about yourself, you find yourself in a dark place. You're lonely. You feel like even if the people around you who know, I had somebody tell me one time I was dating this guy, and I know y'all remember back in the day we had the microwave ponytails. He pulled my microwave ponytail out my hair at the movie theater. And the person
Wow.
that was with me was like, oh, girl, y'all be all right tomorrow. I'm like, no, like he literally assaulted me. But because she was being abused too, she thought,
Wow.
there's nothing wrong with it. So even
Wow.
back then, when I look back on that pattern of abuse and allowing myself to accept that, it really it really does do something to you mentally, emotionally, of course. And so when you go through years and years of abuse, not just physical, but verbal and mental and emotional abuse, and you think you're worthless and you think you're lonely and you begin to believe those things, it's hard for you to get out of that. It really is. My ex-husband was bipolar, borderline schizophrenic.
Mm.
So with him, it was a little bit different because this is an illness. So in my mind, I thought I've got to separate this illness from who he really is. But I also had to think about the safety of me and my daughter, which is why I had to get out of that situation because I can't go to bed every night wondering if you gonna act crazy and I'm gonna have to kill you. Because I used to sleep with a knife under my pillow because I didn't
Wow.
know what I was gonna get. Like one day you're happy, the next day you're upset, or you're accusing me of something that didn't even happen. And so I remember saying to myself, either I'm going to kill him or he's going to kill me. And I can't kill him because I need to be here to raise my daughter. And so at that moment, I just kept saying, God, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I got to get out of this. I got to get out of this. And so we divorced. And my main thing is that I wanted to break a pattern because my daughter was
Mm.
young when all of that happened.
Mhm.
And she witnessed it and she used to have nightmares. She had to go to counseling. And I kept thinking, I can't let my daughter think that this is okay. And so even after that happened and I started dating my now husband, it took a long time before I would even let my daughter meet him because I wanted to be certain that we were, we headed to marriage before you meet my child, basically.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I remember when we got married and we were together, my daughter would always say, is he going to come back? Are we going to be okay? Just all of this
Wow.
stuff. So I had to break that cycle because I refused to let my daughter think, number one, that it's okay for somebody to, call you out your name, try to fight you, whatever.
Mhm.
But I needed her to see what a healthy relationship looks like. You
Yes.
know, I needed her to see a husband and a wife being able to talk without yelling, without screaming. And even for me, it was an adjustment because I remember when my husband and I had our first disagreement. I was hollering and screaming and you better do this and you better just acting crazy. And he was looking
Mhm.
at me like, when you gonna sit down so we can talk? Because I had to make that adjustment because I didn't know how to communicate. So
That
we
was the
went to,
norm.
right. I was carrying all that
Mm.
baggage from all that past stuff. So we went to marriage conferences before we even got married. I had to learn how to communicate, had to learn
Mhm.
how to talk and use my inside voice and not think that just because we are having a disagreement that means we have to fight. I mean, there are just so many things that happen. Even now, I still have triggers. We don't play fight. You know, I
Mhm.
he walked up behind me while I was washing dishes and put his arm around my waist. I was like, wait, hold on, what's going on? But that's
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I have been abused. We don't pillow fight, we don't do any of that. And so once you've been through that, you have to get rehabilitated yourself.
Right.
It's one thing to leave, but you need counseling. I will say that. I tell people all the time, the saints of God will tell you to pray and read your Bible. And I am a firm believer of prayer. Prayer changes things.
Mhm.
Right. Yes.
Mhm.
I love
But
God. But I also know that we have to go get us some help so that
exactly.
we will know how to communicate properly, so that we
Yes.
learn how to be in healthy relationships, not just in relationships with spouses, but even relationships with friends.
Mhm.
I really hate to see females calling each other out of their names and things like
Yes.
Oh,
we have to know how to communicate. That's a form of
Mhm.
verbal abuse that people don't want to recognized because I grew up in an environment where people talked about you and they thought it was okay. I'll give you an example of that. You sure are getting fat. You sure have gained weight. That's verbal abuse. When
Mhm.
you have to be careful how you talk to your kids. You just like your daddy. He ain't never been that. That's verbal abuse. So
Mhm.
you have to learn how to get past all of those things because sometimes, especially if you have grandparents and aunts and uncles that are in their 70s, 80s, whatever, they may not ever change. But it's up to you to make sure that you don't accept all of those things that they've said about you.
Mhm.
But people don't understand. I've heard folks say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. Words hurt. They hurt.
Mhm.
And we have to be careful how we use our words. You don't want to tell your husband, women, oh, you sorry, you get on my nerves. That's verbal abuse.
Mhm.
You're verbally abusing your
Yeah.
husband.
And
So,
Cassandra, I
You have
like
to
some
be
of what
careful.
you said about saying certain things to your kids and even within your
yes,
family. As you
yes,
said that, I thought about it. I said that's a cultural thing too, because I've
yes,
noticed that throughout my family and
Mhm.
other families where making jokes about one another, talking about
yes,
weight, looks, color of skin. That's a whole nother separate talk conversation, right?
right, right,
We make jokes like that. And I think that's a cultural thing where we think that's funny, but in
right,
actuality, like you said,
Yeah.
that's verbal abuse. And that is leaving permanent or almost permanent scars on people. And you
right,
see why a lot of kids are turning into young adults, older adults who are still
Mhm.
triggered, like you said, or
right,
tormented by certain things
right.
because we planted that seed so long ago and made certain stuff all right or the
Right.
norm.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
right. And how come you have all these children committing suicide because they've been bullied?
Right.
I hear people say, well, you can't just be so sensitive. It's not about being sensitive.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
about you have to be mindful that whatever you say, I have freckles in my face. You can't see them because I have on makeup right now. But I remember being in the third grade when a little boy called me chocolate chip, and that hurt my feelings so bad. I hated my freckles, and I really don't like them to this day. And I'm 47 years old, and I'm here to say that bothered me, and that was a form of verbal abuse. We have to call, like in the words of Yana, we have to call a thing a thing. It's verbal
Yeah.
abuse. I don't
That's
care
right.
how you look at it. You can say it's a joke if you want to. It's not a joke. It's not funny. It's abuse. That's what it is.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say that, it is a form of bullying because I know
Yes,
parents even bully their own kids. They
True.
be saying
exactly.
stuff like that, that you're not going to amount to anything. You're just going to be like your dad or whoever. And they sit there and call them names just as well. And
Yeah,
I be thinking about that. I be like, okay, where did you learn that from? But
right.
even the kids that
Because
bully
you thought
kids
that
at
was
the
okay.
school, they learn it from their mama, and then their mama learn it from their mama,
Cycle.
whoever in their family. And it's the same way with the domestic violence, just like you were saying that you grew up around your family and they were, um, in the same type of situation,
Right.
in a violent situation, abusive situation. And when you see it like that as a young child, yeah, you think it's okay. So I'm just gonna grow up, but I am grateful that you are. I like to call it breaking a generational curse because
Yes.
Exactly.
it in this situation it is a generational thing that's passed down, and it's no telling who your mama saw.
Right.
Your
That's what
mama could have seen it from her grandma, from your grandmother. We don't know, but
what she did. That's exactly what happened. And so, I'm real about domestic violence because a lot of we've covered it up for so long. It's time
Right.
to uncover the cover up. It is a generational curse. My grandmother was abused. My mother was abused. I've
Mm.
watched my aunts and cousins and different people be abused, and nobody is saying, okay,
no,
yeah, you're going to go to jail for the night, but tomorrow when you get out, we back kicking it. And so we have to learn, especially with my daughter being, she's 21. I remember when she first started dating, there was a young man. who was calling her entirely too much. He wanted to know her every move. I said, that's controlling. He's probably, I'm watching all these signs of abuse. Told
Mm-hmm.
my daughter, it's not cute. It's not cute that he want to know your every move. It's not cute that one day he came over here. We even know he was here. He just outside waiting around. All of these
Wow.
things.
Wow.
And
And
then
all the time.
it's very alarming because you turn on the news and somebody just got killed by their abusive boyfriend who didn't want them to leave. So now
Mm-hmm.
you so nobody can have you. And so it just made me say, you know what? I'm about to make sure that I let my daughter know that this is not right
Mm-hmm.
and that I let her know what the signs of abuse are and talk about it with her. Just get real with her about that
Exactly.
subject because we can try to cover it up and say, well, he just did that one time. I tell people all the time, if he will push you, he will punch you, and if he punch you, he will kill you.
Mm.
He
It's not
will.
a
He
joke.
will.
And it's not going to just be one time. It's going to be consistently. If he gets away with it one time, he going to keep doing it.
I keep doing it.
Mm.
And
He's
I know how young people get confused because they think, oh, he loves me. He must really
That's
love
love.
me.
Yeah.
He always
right,
over here. He always want to know where I'm at. But, you know, you can't fault them because they don't know.
right,
It's impossible to do better if you don't know anything.
right.
And young
That's
ladies don't be
what
knowing, hey, this is not cute. This is not love. Love is not supposed to hurt. It
right.
ain't supposed to hurt at all. I don't care what it is, like abusive, verbal abuse, mentally abuse.
That's
You
right.
Right.
always want to control me. You want to keep me from my own family and friends. Excuse me. You you
Anytime
you you
somebody tries
blocking me
to
from
keep
my
you
support
in
system.
isolation or
Okay?
somebody who is controlling your every move, keeping you in isolation, you don't want you to
Mm-hmm.
have friends, try to control what you wear, always downplaying everything. They want to applaud you when you're doing great. They don't want you to think that they don't want to feel as if you
Mm-hmm.
are maybe you're doing something in your life and they're not. They don't want to applaud that. They always downplay. Oh, it was just a little award. It was just
Yeah.
Mm.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Always accusing you. If their friends like if I had a guy, his friend said, well, my ex-husband's friend told him, your wife looks really good. Oh, he got mad at me. It was my fault that the guy said that I look really nice. So you have to be mindful all of those things, and you just don't know. You're walking around on eggshells because you don't know if he's going to be happy today or if he's going to be sad or
Mm-hmm.
everything is just always your fault.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yep.
I want to take a step back and jump back to something that we were talking about earlier as it
Mm-hmm.
relates to it's not just the women, it's the men too.
Hmm.
And I have to say, a long time ago, I bought into the idea too that it was just women that was that was experiencing domestic violence, because that's all we saw, that's all we read about, that's what we saw in our families. I can't say within my family I really saw men being abused. I didn't, to be honest. Even up until now, I always saw a male family member being the one abusing, or the opposite, a
Hmm.
female being abused.
Mm-hmm.
But I never saw where the man was getting the abuse. But I'm so glad that now in 2019, and I still don't think it's enough, that we are bringing more awareness to that domestic violence does cross both genres, or
Yeah.
gender, should I say, excuse
Mm-hmm.
me, that it's male and female that is being violated, whether verbally, physically, or even emotionally. And to touch on why, I thought about what you said, Tyra, with your husband. He said he wouldn't report it. I used to always wonder, why wouldn't a man report it? And this was my conclusion. I don't have any statistics around it, but it's just my thought, is that it's an ego thing. What man
Yeah.
truly wants to admit that I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting whooped on or beat up on
Mm-hmm.
or violated verbally by a woman? What man wants to say that? So I believe most men will keep silent if they are experiencing that out of pure ego.
That is true. And also, Felicia, you have to remember they were taught not to cry. You
Right.
know, you've heard
That's a
that
good
term,
point.
you're not supposed to cry. So since they were taught that they would walk around with that. I met a guy at a domestic violence seminar who said last year when I was talking about verbal abuse, and he and his wife were sitting there,
Mhm.
and when it was over with, she was convicted because she said, I didn't realize the things that I say to my husband is considered verbal abuse.
Mm,
That's
She
all.
said, I just be telling him how I feel about stuff. I say, yeah, but it's a way to do it.
That's
And
the
he
way
right.
you do
mentioned
it.
to me, he said, I'm so glad you said that because, we, especially in our culture, women,
Mhm.
we say a lot of stuff all the time.
Fact.
We were raised to just kind of speak our mind about
Yeah.
how we feel. But in speaking, there's a better way to communicate,
Correct.
not just with your
There is.
spouse, but with your children, with anybody really, because we tend to cross that line. You have to know that, especially if you're married to a man who is kind of soft spoken. If you're like I am very outspoken. My husband is soft spoken,
Mhm.
but I know when we communicate, I know how I need to communicate with him. I
Yeah.
can't be loud and over the top and disrespectful and all of that. I have to remember, okay, you have to treat him like you want to be treated.
Yeah. It's so
But a lot
true.
of women don't do. They, just go all the way in.
Mhm. Mhm. But I can't help but to wonder. You must have heard that from your own mama. I mean, the way we communicate by what we saw. If we
Right.
saw our mama communicate that way, we thinking that hey, that's the way we're supposed to communicate to a man.
And
And
that's why we have to get help, Tyra, because
mhm,
we can't keep walking around the world saying, well, I watched my mama do this and I watched my daddy do that. We have to
mhm,
make sure that we break those generational curses and those
perfect,
cycles.
Yes.
How what
exactly.
we were taught so much stuff that wasn't right. And I just say, they did the best that they could with what they had. But there
Mhm,
are so many resources now
that
out there
is.
available for us to take advantage of, to change the way we operate. I hear people say, well, that's just the way I am. No, that's the way you choose to be.
That's good.
Exactly,
That's good.
exactly.
That's the way you choose to be.
That's
Because in
right.
2019, as Felicia stated, it's 2019. There's so many resources out
There's
there,
so many,
and
so
so many
many.
Yeah.
workshops and helplines. So you have to want to change. That's where it starts.
That
Right.
is.
And I was
And
having a conversation with someone, not about this topic of domestic violence, but about, when you're in a place of you only know what to do with what you know. If you
Right.
don't
mhm,
know, how can you do better? And I remember I brought up the pretty much what you said, Cassandra, the point of, okay, I understand that. You only know what you know, right? But how long do
Right.
you keep that as an excuse? How long does that
Exactly.
exactly.
remain your excuse as you continue to grow, hopefully, and develop as an adult? When do you decide to say, okay, there's some areas I need to fix, there's some things I
Right.
need to change? And a lot of times
Yeah.
that's resources, a lot of times that's changing the people in our environment. We need to change
Right.
our circles. We need to get around the right people, the right
Yeah.
influences that can give us a different outlook on life, that can give us a different perspective from what
Right.
we've been given prior. And so I grew up kind of like that. I saw a certain way, and I can speak this because we're very open with our relationship. My mother, she spoke a certain way. She was, aggressive in a way, and there was reasons why she was like that. I grew up just like her, fighter in school. Well, I fought to defend myself. Never started,
Mhm.
but I was gonna try to finish it. And so I've grown up as a grown woman, and I have to now watch myself. And I still,
Right.
Mhm.
I don't pass all the time, but I have that outspoken mouth. I can be sarcastic. I can be loud and aggressive. And sometimes I have to say, Felicia, you need to pull back. You had a 10, you need to be about a 4. Let's pull
Mhm.
back some. Because that's not how you
Exactly.
talk to people. Because I know very well I don't like to be spoken to a certain way. So I have
Right.
to
Mhm.
remember that, just like you said, Cassandra, give that same respect back. But it comes back to we have to make that decision. How long do we stay like this? How long
Yes.
is that going to be an excuse? That was then.
Exactly.
This is now.
I was so focused on when I got married, when I remarried, my focus for my marriage was number one because I I kept thinking I had gotten punked when I met my husband because he was so consistent and so different from everything I
Mm,
had ever witnessed in life.
Mhm.
So for me, it was about learning how to have the type of relationship that I always dreamed of and learning how to communicate. I wanted my marriage to be the best example for my daughter. And I put a lot of time and effort into my marriage. I treat it like it's a job because
Mhm.
I want to make sure, not just for us to be on one accord, but I wanted my daughter to have a better example than I did. And I
Mhm.
knew I was able to do that with work. And we work. Marriage is a ministry. So we work
It is.
on making sure that we're that example for her. And because I've been in this marriage for 9 years now, almost 10, I still every day wake up saying, wow, how is this even possible? Because I remember what I came from. I remember
Mhm.
the type of relationships where I had to walk around my house scared, where I was scared to spend money or I might get fussed at, or they might check the gas mileage to see how far I've been.
mm,
All of that. I remember my husband told me when we first got married, I was saying I needed to go somewhere. And I said, well, is it okay? But he was like, you don't have to ask me for permission to go anywhere. But that was because I was not used to
mm.
all of
Mhm.
so I had to make those adjustments. And, it's part of my testimony. I don't mind sharing with people about the abuse, but I'm just thankful that the Lord allowed me to come out of it, number one, because I could have very well lost my life. But number two, to keep sharing
Mhm.
my story because it's somebody right now looking at this video being abused.
You're
Yeah.
Right
right.
now, they are victims of abuse. And if we don't start talking and telling what's really going on, we're going to keep waking up in the morning to the news of somebody getting killed.
Mhm.
Wow.
And
Cassandra,
that's reality.
Exactly.
I want to ask you a question. I'm asking this on behalf of the singles that being myself. So you could tell you're in a totally different place now,
Yes.
spiritually, emotionally, all
Mhm.
9 yards. You're in a better place now. You said you've been with your husband now 9 years, and you still wake up like, wow, okay, is this really happening? And obviously, based off of your prior experience, now being in your marriage, and this might go a little deep. I don't want to take it too deep, but it could. Are
Okay.
you just more aware in this marriage, even though it's great? Um, Great guy, great experience, totally 360 from the first marriage.
Mhm.
But because of that experience, does it make you more aware in this marriage? Is there, I guess I'm trying to ask if it's okay, and both of you ladies are married, do you ever get that comfortable now because of that experience?
Absolutely. I'm always aware. I think for me, because you heard me talk about the consistency. In
Hmm.
the
Mhm.
beginning, when they're trying to woo you over, you think, oh, this is for now. But he's been consistent in everything that he's done. So, of course, that makes me a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more lax. Uh,
Hmm.
when I came in, I was guarded, very guarded.
Makes
I had
sense.
my guards up. I was like, wait a minute, hold up, what? You know,
Exactly.
All
now,
the blockers.
and
Yes.
now all of these years of learning and growing, we're still learning things about one another in this marriage. I am more comfortable in this marriage than I've ever been in my whole life with
Wow,
anybody. And so I can go to Africa and come back and we're gonna be good. I
that's
used
it.
to go to the store
Exactly.
down the street and say I'm gonna be good with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So I think because of his consistency throughout the years, it made me more comfortable and more trusting with him. And not only that, we pray together. We trust God in the process of marriage. what we don't know, we find out. There's nothing that we don't talk
Mhm.
about. We're friends. We were friends first, and that helps a lot.
Mm,
We talk
I
about a
believe
lot
that
of
does.
things, and he's my friend. I can tell him anything. He can tell me anything, and we have a
Exactly.
beautiful friendship first that blossomed into what we have now.
Exactly. And I just wanted to add to that, just in case anybody do come across this video, um, that I just want to encourage the ladies who may be in some type of abusive relationship or toxic relationship. He may not be hitting you. He may not be, um,
True.
you know, because we love to sit here and minimize how a man's supposed to treat us. But just looking at Cassandra and myself, we just want you to know that you can have that marriage that you know that you're supposed to have, But even though we women get into those type of situations, we still be thinking in the back of our head, okay, this ain't right. And God gave us instance where we able to pick up and say, okay, this not right for me. So something is not right here. So is there any way possible I can get out of this? Yes, you can get out of it. But
Absolutely.
I do believe in prayer. I do believe in asking and seeking the Lord.
Yes.
How can I get out of this without dying?
Mm,
Without putting my child, in harm's way. Because I do believe God give us strategies and He can give us instruction. And when I was in I wasn't in a violent relationship, but it was abusive because he was verbally abusive. And I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, help me to escape out of this because your word says that you will give us a way of escape. It's in his word. And I believe in God, I believe in his scripture. And so I prayed and asked him, I said, God, can you please show me how should I do this? Because I don't want to make the wrong move and something happened, to me and my kids. And so God did give me the instructions, and I followed them. Was it hard? Yes. Was I scared? Yes.
Yeah.
Lord knows I was because I didn't know how it was going to come about. But I still believe that God was going to cover us, and He did. And I just want to encourage anybody that may be watching this that you can get out of your situation and you
yes.
can have a beautiful blissful marriage. Be married to the person that you're supposed to be married to, that is respectful to you and love you. And just like Cassandra was saying, my husband was very consistent. He's very consistent. He never changed on me, and I was the one that had
Mm,
to come up to his level when it comes to communicating and trusting him, because when you come from those type of relationships, you do get those little in the back of your head, like, okay, is this real? Is this
Right.
really, a true thing that you're giving me, Lord? But it can happen. It can happen for you. It can happen for anybody that's in an abusive relationship. I just wanted to put it out there to encourage them to pray and ask the Lord, seek Him on how to get out. But I also want to put out there, there is a 1-800 number for anybody that may be going through the relationship or any type of domestic violence, that there is a 1-800 number that you can call. And also there is help and programs in your state that you can contact, because you can go to the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, and you can pick your state that you live in, and you can just contact those programs as well to get the help you need.
Amen.
Is there anything you want to add to any woman that may be in this type of situation, and what you think that they should do?
Well, I think it's important, as you stated, that they get out of it, but they have to have an exit plan. It's
Hmm.
never good to try to leave in the heat of an argument, because if you do, that's going to escalate to something else. So you do need an exit plan, and you need somebody to help you. Try to leave when that person is at work or something. Call the police when you get ready to leave, but don't do it while you're in the heat of an argument, because that can go all the way wrong real fast.
Hmm.
And just know that the abuse is definitely not your fault, because they tend to say it's your fault. There is nothing that you can do to cause someone to abuse you. That is a choice that they have made. It has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Mhm.
The word, you are created in the image of God, fearfully and wonderfully made. So know that God loves you and He cares for you, and it's not His plan that you be abused.
Yes.
If
Amen.
you're
Amen.
not,
Say that again.
it'll tell you what His plan is. It's to give you a hope and a future, and to prosper you, and to
Yes.
come no harm. I'm paraphrasing, but go back and read Jeremiah 29:11. It is not His plan that you get abused or slapped or kicked or punched or cussed out. So I
Amen.
just want to encourage you to get out. Like she said, there is a domestic violence hotline number, and get you a plan and leave immediately. It's not going to change. The only way he will change is if he gets saved, delivered, and set free.
Amen.
Amen.
And so
Amen.
that's what I want to leave the people with on tonight. Be encouraged. Oh, October the 24th is Purple Day. That's National Purple Day for Domestic Violence.
Mhm.
So wear your purple and take your selfies that say National Domestic Violence Day, Purple Thursday. And that's October 24th.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you so much, Tyra, for having me. Miss Felicia, thank you so
Of
much.
course. Of
Yes.
course.
A
So
pleasure.
I thank you
Yes,
for
ma'am.
that. I really do. Because
Thank
this is a subject that we just don't talk about, especially in our culture, because we believe that we're supposed to keep everything in undercover. You know,
you. Right.
whatever goes on in the house stays in the house, you know. And so this is something that we do have to talk about. And men also need to report as well. Um,
Amen.
That's right.
so I guess I left the man out, girl. I didn't mean to leave the man out. So, man, if you're watching this, I need you to report it.
Please
Exactly.
do.
Please do,
Please
because
do. No
there's no,
pride. No pride.
yeah,
Just
no
report
pride.
it.
There's no shame. This is not just for ladies. Men are not supposed to be abused as well. Um,
Correct.
That's right.
hmm No abuse. I like how Latasha Jones said that no abuse is not part of his plan for our lives.
Right.
It's so
No,
true.
it is not.
Yeah.
That
Hmm
also here in Dallas, there is a shelter for men here. They just opened it. I think it was last year. So they have
Oh,
abuse center.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
That is.
Yes.
Yeah,
We need to see more of those come up.
we
Yes.
do. We do. And we just have to, make sure that we have a plan when we get ready to leave. Because I see it all the time on TV, how the way they be showing the women always trying to leave when the heat of the moment, and I just
Yeah.
be thinking to myself, why you can't leave while he at work?
Yeah.
Call the
Even
police and do it while he at work. Don't, I mean,
Yeah.
right.
it just don't make any sense to me. But you really do have to have a plan, just like Cassandra said. I just don't know how much we can enforce this, but we really want people to not be in these type of situations. But you do have men and women who are out there who are insecure, who are, thinking that it's okay to, abuse people. But we are not supposed to be abused.
That's right.
Period.
Uh,
And so,
And what
um,
I've come to understand, love does not hurt. Love does not
exactly.
hurt. It doesn't
that's
hurt. And to just add to what both of you were saying, we all have a voice. That is just my motto for 2019. We all have a voice. So use it. If you are that one, you are experiencing it, even if you see it, we
right.
all have a voice.
Right. And go back and read First Corinthians chapter 13, the love chapter, where it
Yeah.
tells
Mm,
you what love is, and insert that person's name. If he
yes.
doesn't fit or she does not fit any of
Mm,
that, then you with the wrong person.
I
You're with
like
the
that too.
wrong
Yes.
person. You are so
Yes.
right, Cassandra. You are with the wrong
Ooh,
person.
I like that.
Because just like I was saying earlier, that you can't keep using that excuse over and over. Oh well, my mama did this, my daddy did that. Yeah, your mom and daddy. You don't carry the sins of your parents. But at the same time, you have a life of your own. So if you
That's,
have a life of your own, you have your own kids, you don't have to do what your mom and daddy do.
That's
that's
You
right.
don't
right.
have to live the way that your mom and daddy has lived. And y'all
That's
was saying that, if you're with a person who's like that and they're saying, well, this is how the way I was raised. Okay, you can do better. That's what I'm thinking in my head. You can do better. Yeah, okay, you can do better. But they may be still using that as an excuse, but we can't change them. And women, I know how we get to be thinking that, oh, we can change a man. I can just nurture him into whoever I want him to be. That is so
better.
not
You
true.
have to
You
build.
nurture
So
children.
not true. I'm sorry, boo. He is not a baby that you had just birthed out. He's not. Now you can nurture your son, your baby, into the man that you want him to be because he's with you as a baby. But a grown man, no, you can't nurture him into anything
That
that he
is
does
so
not even want to be.
Right.
Exactly. So we got to stop using that as an excuse as well. The excuse got to go out the door, just like Felicia was saying in 2019. Uh, it just got to go.
It
And
has to.
if you with somebody that's saying, well, I'm so sorry. I was made this way. I was raised this way. Okay, that's all right then, but you can still do better. I mean, I believe in breaking generational curses. What about y'all?
Ooh, yes.
I,
Amen.
yeah, I believe it because that's what the word says. So,
yeah.
As they
so
say, the
I
buck
this
stops here.
mhm mhm. This was a good conversation. Cassandra, I do want to thank you again for being on here tonight. And we just praying that you continue to be so blessed in your marriage that you're in at this moment. You tell Mr. McLaughlin, we thank him for being a wonderful husband to
Yes.
you.
I will. I will. Thank you
Yes.
guys for letting me come on. I really enjoyed it.
Thank
I'm
you
glad.
for joining us.
Yes. So you have a good evening and a good night. We're going to
You
wrap this thing up and then we're going to end this on a good note.
all right. Good night, ladies.
Good
Hugs and
night.
kisses. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, Felicia. We
All
can wrap
right.
this up and we will be back on next week. We do have a guest for next week. But next week her name is Tasha Jones. So next week guest will be talking about her. We'll be sharing her story as well about domestic violence. So
All
please
right.
come back next Sunday on the Issues of Life Talk forum, on the Issues of Life Facebook page, and we'll be here at the same time at 7:30 Central Standard Time. And
Yes.
y'all have a wonderful good night. And Felicia just hang in the corner.
All
Uh,
right. Thank you guys for joining us.
yes, y'all have
Thank
a
you for the
wonderful,
love.
wonderful night. And I hope that you all have learned something that you could take back from this. But remember, it is not your fault. All right, Felicia.